Hello, my name is Joey.
And I'm Maddie.
And we are 8081 Robotics, Knights of the Lab Table, and we're going to be explaining our idea, the Kanban.
Ta-da! So the Kanban system is an organizational system we use to open the lines of communication between the different branches of our team. What I mean by branches is like builders, programmers, design, and outreach. Those are the four that we have. And between the different branches of the team, there's not always a whole lot of communication because you don't normally talk to people outside your branch when it comes to deadlines and stuff like that. So this is a really nice way to show deadlines, show what needs to be worked on, show what is currently being worked on, and what is done or just needs to be reviewed. So it's a really nice visual representation of things that need to be done. And it's very modular and customizable, which is why we like to use it because we can change it whenever we need to. So as Joey finishes our example, I'll start over here with priority tasks and tasks. And this is logically where everything starts. You need something done. So you're gonna put it in either priority task or task. It really just depends on how important it is and also how large the project is. So for example, let's say we need to build a drivetrain. A drivetrain is pretty important for a robot. So I'm going to write down DT on this sticky note and put it in priority tasks. From there, I'm also going to put my symbol here because that shows that I want to work on it. So when people put sticky notes up here, they either put their symbol or an initial just to show that they are either working on it or they want to work on it. In the future, depending on when the task is actually going to be put in progress. So tasks are smaller things and normally easier as well. So let's say the programmers need to program a servo. So I'm just going to put servo and then I'm going to put J for Joey because he's one of the programmers and just put that in task. A nice thing about using sticky notes is that they come in a lot of different colors. So you can organize your branches of teams by sticky note color. So like for in this example, blue is builders and pink is programmers. And then you could have like orange for design and yellow for outreach or whatever you wanted to do. So once we have all these tasks set up, I come along and say, oh, drivetrain. I have my symbol on there, so I'm going to work on it. So I'm going to take it and put it in progress.
All right, so boom. You are in progress. After you sign yourself to put on this task and complete it, you put it in progress. This is as simple as I could say. It just means that you're working on the robots, but this is also a helpful tool to show what other people are doing in the class. So let's just say our class was very hectic at times, and some people will come in, they're like, oh, I want to work on robotics and get some stuff done. They could come to this board and say, oh, looks like Maddie's working on the drivetrain. So then they could just go to Maddie and ask her if she needs assistance or help with anything on this project. And either she says yes or no, it just really depends, but it just kind of shows what the room is kind of doing. It puts a little mindset in your head just to show like, hey, this is what people are working on, this is what to expect what people are working on, and it just kind of helps show what everyone is doing. So after you're done with your progress, you put in a review. This is like a little bit of a safety mechanism. You put in a review, you have someone else, not yourself, but someone else that is either have higher experience, has higher authority, a parent or mentor or a coach or a captain, anyone with prior experience to building should come over, review the drivetrain and say, hey, I need to go check it or whatever, or you go to that person, you'd be like, hey, where's this object? So Maddie would go to the drivetrain, I would follow her, and she would show me it, and I would inspect it, see if everything's stable, see if it wouldn't combust on itself and catch fire. And it's a helpful tool. You could do the exact same thing for programming. You could have another line that can separate them from build to program or design, just see if they're good. So if I'm trying to build a servo and program wherever, someone come in like our captain, our co-captain Gavin would come in and he would make sure that all my semicolons are there and see if all my values are right. It's just a way, it's a safety mechanism just to see if everything is going to go right. Because then if you didn't go through this process and you did mess up something, you would waste more time trying to fix it than actually had someone go and review it themselves.
And something you might be asking is, what if there's so many things in review, my thing doesn't get checked, and then it gets used, and then it breaks, and it's a whole thing. What we do to prevent that is, in progress, we make a cap for how many things can be in progress at a time. So for example, we usually have about 7 things, so we'll put like 7 in a little box, and that'll just be a reminder. Be like, hey, if there's 7 things here already, don't start anything new, go see if you can help, and if you can't, there's just really nothing to be worked on today until these things are done. If you wanted to have a little more organization in your team, you could micromanage it a little bit and have like specific caps for your different branches. So for example, you could say, let's have 3 sticky notes for builders, 3 for programmers, 2 for design, and 2 for outreach at a time. And then you could write that down and then have that very specific cap for different branches, just to make sure that everyone is working on what they need to and they're not spreading themselves thin, because that is something you really don't want to do. So once you go through in progress and in review, once that's gotten reviewed, you know it's not going to catch fire or anything or break, you would go to log, which is really important. I'm the co-captain for our notebook team here, so I'm usually the person that's nagging people to do their logs, because normally they don't really want to do them. But logs are important to mark your progress with your robot, and it also is really helpful for judges meetings and your engineering portfolio. Because if something really exciting or cool is happening and it's built, you're going to want the specifics of that to go into your portfolio so you can show it off to the judges during your judges meetings. So you can take those math problems or those drawings and you can put them into your portfolio and show the judges, hey, this is something really cool we did, and you're going to have those specifics from your engineering notebook and from those logs that you did, and you're going to be really happy that you did them. So once you get that logged, you go to done.
You are complete with your task that you signed yourself from the beginning. You had someone else review it, a higher authority, and then you put down all the specs and details onto your log and made sure that it will be seen by the judges. You have put it into done. You can keep it there as long as you want. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yes, you can just keep it there as long as you want, or you could tear it off and if it gets too crowded. That also kind of relates to how you could use it as like a little trophy to kind of show like what you've done on the team, to show like how much you've done, and kind of use it as motivation to put your team kind of forward. Just be like, oh, look how many sticky notes we've done, and look how much we've accomplished throughout the years. But then you could probably say the exact same thing from priority tasks and tasks. You can look at it and you'll just be like, we got a lot of stuff to do, and yeah. But then that's also kind of relates to deadlines, because like, let's just say, for the sake of the argument, we need the drivetrain done at 9:25.
Totally random made-up date. Doesn't have any significance at all.
We're definitely not trying to meet that deadline, but after the fact, we're trying to complete it by this time. So since we are in the done section, we're in progress, put it through review, inspect it, whatever, you would cross that out and you would be done with that. And it's also, deadlines are just helpful just to organize everything, kind of put together what should be happening in the team. Again, this kind of relates to priority tasks. Whatever is on deadlines should automatically be on priority tasks, because they are the closest thing, how do I say, like the closest thing to being done?
Yeah.
I guess so. But it just helps overall, and it's very modular.
Yeah.
Which I could say.
Yeah, it's very customizable, which is really nice because you don't necessarily need it to be this complicated. Say, if your team is a little bit newer and you don't really need a priority task or task, you can just go, whoop, ta-da, now it's just task. And like, you can make it as simple or complex as you want it, which is why it's so nice. You also don't necessarily need to do it on a whiteboard. I've used it before at my house. I've just put sticky notes on my closet door, And when I've had a lot of homework or I have a lot of things that I need to do or want to do, I'll just put a row of sticky notes and then I'll move them over on my closet door just to mark what I've done and what I still need to do. So it's very nice not only for robotics but also in personal life as well.
Yeah, and to touch on, it's very modular. Like, for example, I didn't touch on this, but you can change out the deadlines to practically just have practically just designated to certain branches of the team. So you could either have, since we have 4 teams or 4 branches on our team, we could have one for build, program, outreach, and design, and we could just practically separate those out. And so one of the outreach people don't see the drivetrain and then freak out over it just to be like, what is this? And they don't have any clue on what to do. You could probably say the exact same thing for the in progress. You don't want to get too confused with build or program or anything like that. You can just come over, separate it out from build, program, design, all that. And so a build person doesn't know how to program a servo and they try to take on that task. You do the exact same thing on tasks. It's just a whole module thing that you could change up depending on what you want. Like a friend of ours, he's our captain. He uses this tactic at his house, and whenever we come over, we always see it on his bedroom door. It's a very nice organized way to see how planes in the future should come out, because it could be something as important as any robotics or work or anything like that, but it could be something as silly or fun as a game. So like our captain actually has Five Nights at Freddy's in progress, and he's trying to complete the game. It's just a fun way to see things. So yes, thank you for listening to our idea, and put all the comments down below.
If you have questions, don't.
So, look, I'm going to be talking about the whiteboard. And the whiteboard has a Kanban, but the Kanban is going to have ideas on it. And we're going to talk about those ideas. So we're talking about the Kanban, which is an idea. So technically we're talking about the Kanban, but the Kanban has the whiteboard on it. So, but that's reversed, because the whiteboard has a Kanban on it. So now we are talking about the Kanban.